What are you playing?
I'm playing Minecraft, but I'm playing Dokkan right now because I don't feel like doing anything. How was your first week back in classes, Kyle?
Well, let me see. Um, Tuesday was a day. Today has probably been one of the worst days. Um, Woke up this morning, thought I had testicular torsion because one of my
Okay.
balls was hurting kind of bad, and I was like, I must have slept wrong. Hopefully it'll fix itself. Well, because it's been fucking freezing as of late, everything's kind of packed together to preserve heat, so it didn't kind of fix itself.
I
No, I didn't have to
I
go
don't
to
really
the
know how to
emergency room.
respond to that. I would say
No,
that's
I didn't have.
TMI, but granted it's me. I can't really say that, so I guess you're good.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I had to go most of the day like that, and it was like, well, it's not like it's getting worse, so I guess I'll just, do my normal stuff. Um, then eventually that got resolved. After a while, it resolved itself, thankfully. And again, didn't get any worse, so I ended up going and get surgery to get a bole removed or something like that. I do know of someone that did have that happen, and that's why I was like, I'm not letting that happen. uh, but yeah. And then on the way back home, for some reason, the cops had like a checkpoint set up along the road, and they stopped and said, "Well, we're doing a seatbelt check." And I thought, "What the fuck you mean you're doing a seatbelt check?" I mean, I just sort of kind of was like, "Okay," he told me to, go along, and I was like, "Okay." I don't know what on earth the checkpoint was there for, but they had like 8 or 10 cops out there, and it's like, okay, and like blocked 2 lanes to where there was only really a one lane. It was basically a 1 lane open road. So, yep. Today's been quite interesting. That and I swear to God, I've found like your lost clone or something, Tyler. I don't mean
Well,
this
that wouldn't
insult.
happen to be Joseph, would it?
No. Um, he's my physics teacher for this semester, and he is a direct representation of how I would think you would be as a teacher, in the good way, if you know what I mean. In terms of how you would explain things and stuff like that. It's so weird, and I was just really confused, not disturbed, perturbed. No, the perturbed's not good. Shocked, I guess, because he kind of looks like you but larger. And I'm not talking about in terms of fat, but I'm talking about in terms of,
I get it, Kyle. Thank you.
well,
We don't need a dog on the fact that I'm skinny as hell.
no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in terms of he's just taller, more
And
lengthy.
attractive and muscular, and he likes
No,
to
no, to
fuck
be
kids.
no. To be honest, if you just took yourself and multiplied it by like 3, then I think that would equal that guy. And if you were a teacher,
Tyler, can I have your string?
don't let him have it, Tyler. He's trying to take it away from you. Don't let him have it.
Thank you. I would have taken all of it, but I didn't want to be rude, so I left you with one.
No, I took half of it.
He left
Oh.
you with one.
I took it.
Can I have that
No.
one back now? No.
No,
Oh.
you've had enough.
That's
Go
mean.
kill spiders. It's nighttime.
No. I
Yeah,
don't wanna.
where's the
Well, there's
grind?
an
You gotta,
issue.
accept the grind or whatnot.
Hey, Cameron does the same type of organization I do, based. He just puts
You're stealing
random
Cameron's
shit in
shit? Oh my
chests.
god.
Two
Yep.
chests that are actually.
I'm gonna have
used.
to tell my homeboy Cameron that you're stealing his shit.
Why does that feel racially motivated? My homeboy. You
What?
fucking weirdo.
Fuck you. You're the one who's fucking sick. Don't call me weird in your fucking fever
What does
dream
that have-
ass, you know.
What does that
whatever.
have to do with anything,
Most
bro?
of the N-word.
Because you're sick, and
Just because we
therefore
all love saying
you're.
the N-word.
I would like to record today, please. That would be nice.
I
At least a
haven't
little bit.
said anything.
I'm telling you now before all of a sudden you say, hey man, you should have told us earlier. Well, I'm telling you right now. So then you can't come up with an excuse later.
I don't have the energy in me to say the N-word today. I'm all tapped out.
All tapped out.
Oh yeah, I revised your little waterfall and I made it a canal, by the way.
Oh,
One,
okay.
because you couldn't really swim up it, so I wanted it to be practical, and two, you
I
did
wasn't really
exactly
thinking of
what
swimming up it. Well,
uh, well yeah, you wanted to use it as
Not
like a
really,
little
what?
dock, so like not like a dock, but like,
yeah,
you
okay,
leave.
yeah, okay, yeah. That is better looking. Thinking about it in hindsight, yeah, that is better.
Well, that and like you also, I told you, hey Kyle, you did the silly little fucking Viking boat again, and I was like, hey Kyle, don't touch this little corner thing so I can turn it into a big tunnel that leads into my lake. And you're like, yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea. And lo and behold, when I come over to your house like the other day,
What?
you fucking
Okay.
poured it all over the side of the fucking,
Okay,
all over the side of the
I
mountain.
tried to make it look nice, earnestly.
It did look
Okay.
nice, but it's like I had to fix it because that's not what I wanted.
Okay. Well, I didn't see your vision. Our visions didn't match up. I thought our visions were the same, but I did not see whatever vision you were looking at.
Well, anyway, it's practical now. It's a little canal. It doesn't look the greatest, but it functions, and that's what matters. I even used stone
What the hell
slabs
you
to
mean it
make
only
sure
functions? What the fuck you mean it only functions? It's gotta be a fucking work of art. We've got to be able to put this shit
Well,
in
it's
the
made out
fucking
of
museum.
cobblestone, gravel, and stone.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
See, you're liar.
Okay. Yeah. I'm lying, guys. Not being hard on myself for the sake of me not trusting myself. No, I'm just lying.
You're just a filthy liar.
You're a filthy fucking.
You said you didn't have the energy for it. Now,
I don't. I literally
mm.
didn't say it. Landon, do you not have any fucking thing in your house? There's no chests in here. Oh, there's one chest.
I was going to say, I don't think he's in the
No,
party. I don't
there's
know. I was
there's
going to say,
nothing in
has the
here.
fever dream really gotten to you already? Because I was going to say, I don't think he's in the fucking party. And if you're trying to talk to Lanny, your ass is fucking crazy.
No, I'm just
Went to his
talking.
house one time.
I
Really
think because he keeps
bad.
dying with everything in his fucking. What's it called? Inventory.
Jank, I don't know.
If you can craft, you can mine. Or use a sword, you decide. Is
Don't
there
want to
even
go
anybody
digicam
else I can take
today.
shit from? Kyle, I'm going to ransack your chests.
Okay.
I need string.
That isn't string.
I might
What's
have string. I
for?
don't
Yeah,
quite remember.
string
The
for.
same
I already answered
thing.
it. I already answered it.
I have so much bamboo and not enough scaffolding.
Well,
Not
it
enough string.
was nighttime.
I was too busy raping creepers, my fault.
That's not spiders.
Yup.
Alright.
Hi. I'm Snapple.
Damn.
Hey Kyle, would it be a really funny prank if I turned your entire cobblestone little house? What if I just, like, what if I took away all the cobblestone
You
and
mean
replaced it
basically
with
destroyed the
glass?
fucking house?
Yeah, and
Oh,
I replaced it with glass. What would you do? What would you do in that situation?
I didn't know they brought Palworld to the PlayStation. Anyway,
They've had it for a while.
have they?
Stupid.
Well, I have been out of the fucking loop forever. I'm in fucking darkness, whereas everyone else is next to the fucking sun. So anyway, moving on from that, you said replacing the whole house is cobblestone construction with glass. Can you put a bed down on glass? I don't think you can you?
I think you can.
Can you? Okay. Seems to me like at one point you couldn't. Maybe they changed that. I don't remember. Or maybe I just don't remember. Maybe I'm thinking of something else that you can't put it on and getting confused. But well, I would be displeased, but
So
I
many
suppose it's better
things.
than like having Brett blow the shit up or burn it down, or well, I suppose Brett could just fucking break the glass at that point. I don't know. Debatable. Up in the air. Is that a sufficient answer for you?
Went away for a second.
bitch.
We got fucking patient zero over here.
What? What did I do?
Fucking
What
coughing
did
on the mic. You're gonna get all of us sick. But you know
Yeah,
you can
that's how
transfer
that
diseases
works.
over the mic.
I'm gonna rape. Dude, imagine getting the flu from sex, man. Like, imagine nutting in a girl and then she gets sick. That's gotta be so fucked up. Like, like that's because that's how that works, obviously. So it's like technically the flu can be an
Hmm.
STD. So
Oh,
does that
technically,
mean
you'd
that
probably
that kid that would be
she
born
would
from that has to be like the most genetically modified, like superior person? Their immune system must be like either really good or really poop.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't think that's how that works.
God, I'm super fucking cold. That's the way. I'm not running a fever. I'm just really. It's like I have the flu without being sick, but I'm sick. I'm really cold.
You're puny.
Honestly, I mean, I feel puny.
Hmm.
Wait, what? I'm what?
I said you're feeling puny. Yeah, I said you're
Yeah.
puny, but I meant you're feeling puny, not as in you're a little bitch or anything like that.
I thought you were trying to like
You're
mentally
a piece of
psyop
shit,
me into
Tyler.
throwing
Fuck
up.
you.
No, you're like, oh,
You're a
you're
little
puking?
bitch. Just
You're
throw
gonna
up.
puke
Just
right
throw
now,
up.
actually?
Just
You're gonna throw up all over the fucking mic, you fucking faggot?
puke,
Oh.
puke those chunks up, boy.
Puke those chunks up, boy. That has gotta be some dark web fucking pornography of some like fucking
My God,
like
you make
straight
it sound
boy.
so much fucking worse than what I was intending it to be.
Oh, I know. I'm making it worse, but
Yeah,
just
you're
hear me
making it
out.
10 times fucking worse, Mr. Fever Dream.
Oh, you're gonna hear it's like this bear. Like, the gay innuendo for bear. He's like making this little twink. He's
What the
making this.
fuck? These people aren't
Usually
very
they're
friendly.
brown, like hair color brown. Anyway, so like
Care Bear
he's just
Brown?
making this fucking. He's like face fucking a twink. He's like, yeah, you're gonna
Oh,
puke
God.
up those chunks, little boy.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yuck.
And he comes so much down his throat, he just starts throwing up the cum. That's probably a hentai too. Yo, yowie.
You,
Yo, boy.
I'll be yowie-ing in this house.
I think I've gone through so much mental scoring in such a short amount of time, I don't know what to do. Ah, fuck.
Enemy UAV is airborne.
Also, I think I've come to realize something kind of unfortunate. So
Enemy UAV.
this could be, coincidence, question mark? I guess that'd be the right word for it, or happenstance, but, apparently, whenever I looked on I was looking through my YouTube channel the other day or whatnot, and I looked at the viewers or whatnot, and according to YouTube statistics or whatnot, it says that my viewers are between, like, 25 and, like, 30 or 40 something, and I was like,
UAV is online.
I bet you it's because everyone thinks that I'm
Enemy helicopter inbound.
25, 40 something year old man, and it's like, huh. I mean, I guess the voice makes sense, but man, does that kind of kill me on the inside a little bit. But I appreciate my good friend Tyler defending me against that one person. Do you remember that, Tyler? Hello? Is anyone there?
I'm here.
Okay, at least you're there. I don't know where the fuck the other one went.
I was muted this whole time. I killed myself.
You
I don't even
muted
know how that
yourself.
happened. Whatever.
You press
KMSing.
misclick, misclick.
UAV recon standing by.
Ouch.
Enemy helicopter inbound.
Where are these holes?
They're everywhere. You just can't see them because you need glasses.
If the Miller twins are back, be nice. Oh, personal fan. I don't want to hear any hobble
Our
hobbles
UAV is
or
online.
remarks about doubling your pleasure. Now, my reunion.
Okay, we're good.
Well, you are the prettiest one here.
Friendly airstrike on the way.
Here, it's Crane X. Check out the light source. That's my shirt. Look, maybe too late. Root beer, we just do it. What? How you gonna do this? You gotta be this. Wait, how'd you get that? I didn't see that. How'd you get that high?
Climb. You only fell off a flagpole.
Helicopter support standing by.
I like Bernstein's. Congratulations, son. We'll use your shot. I'll pay you $50.
All right, JJ, man.
Our UAV is online.
Does anybody care what I want? I do. Shut up. Get out.
I'm dying. I'm dying inside.
You want a staff job? You want a
And-
staff job? Does anybody care about what I want?
Staff job, and you want a
No.
staff job. Anybody care about what I want? I want the public to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, I do. Shut up. Get out.
Friendly chopper on the way. Enemy UAV
Absolute
is airborne.
cinema.
What the fuck, teammate? Why?
Enemy UAV is airborne.
Features being added in Minecraft's upcoming winter drop is the pale oak wood type. This provides a really nice white color of wood that we've been asking for a really long time. That got me thinking about all the other wood types in the game, and currently there are a total of
People were asking for a pale wood type? I can't remember that.
Pale oak wood type. This provides a really nice white color of wood that we've been asking for a really long time. That got me thinking about all the other wood types.
That's a
in the game,
jet.
and currently
They're
there are
not very friendly looking either.
These are the most beautiful building blocks in the game. I'd say a majority of Minecraft builds include at least one.
Our UAV
With
is
so many
online.
different wood types, some are bound to be worse than others. So today, I thought it'd be fun to rank all 12 Minecraft wood types from the worst to the best. Now some of you may be thinking, why didn't I just wait for the winter drop to release before making
I'm
this?
laying in
I
bed.
don't wanna make it
That's why.
Now based on the title of this video, you may think this would be a super
What?
straightforward ranking, but as always, I've managed to complicate it. That's because I have to admit something. I lied to you. See, this isn't just one ranking.
Me.
We're doing
Friendly
five.
airstrike on the
See,
way.
there are actually a lot of aspects that go into making a good wood type, and I've decided to separate them all out into different categories. The first ranking will simply be based on how good I think the plane, log, and the other logs are on screen log. I was originally considering separating the log, but I think this category
Enemy
works
UAV
as
is
is.
airborne.
Then we're going to be ranking all of the doors separately. This is a very important aspect of each wood type as the texture changes
Our UAV is online.
one instead of just being a simple recall.
I was wondering why this was a 24-minute video.
The final
Why?
category are the saplings and the trees. This
Because
is
he's
a
only
complicated
ranking
category,
12
but it'll
types
come
of
down to the
wood.
mix of both and how annoying it is to chop down the tree. Then at the end of the video, I'll take each wood's average placement for the definitive Minecraft wood ranking. So if you enjoyed this video, please
I just really wish the game
channel.
would
Let's
actually
jump right into the plan.
function
Not
the way it
bigger.
used to.
Keep in mind that I'm not the greatest builder to ever live.
I'm just asking for the game to be fucking stable, because there's times where it's like you try and fucking mine something, and it just can't fucking figure out what you're doing. I mean, blocks disappear, but it didn't give you shit.
We have 12 crimson. This is one of our two netherwood types, and I've just never.
It has to think about what it's doing, and then it lets you do whatever you want to do.
I personally have never found a good way to use this thing.
You know,
The color
these
is
people
just
getting away
specific
from me, I don't
to
really
my
like
Not
that.
to mention that this wood was
Enemy
completely
UAV is
outclassed by
airborne.
mangrove for me. Yes, obviously there are still ways to use a more purple wood type, but I'd rather them go all the way with one of the colors and still
Purple.
leave it
Our
a
UAV
little
is
bit
online.
red. Mangrove looks fantastic, so pretty much anytime I'd want to use crimson, I just go with mangrove instead. There's also the
Fuck.
stem. The blocks of each wood type are fantastic blocks to break builds with, but the crimson stem is just a bit of a mess. There's certain wood types you can use it, but the bright veins just make it a bit too hard to apply this wood type to a general build. 11 jungle. I have once again never really been a fan of this gun. The color is just a slightly more pink version of normal oak, and I have never come up with a great way to use it. The best I got is mixing it with normal oak to give a build a bit more detail, but other than that, I'm pretty stumped. Like crimson as well, I also don't love the log texture. I feel like it's just a bit too green to work well in builds. I also don't like that the log texture is basically flipped on the side compared to the others. It makes it hard to
Damn.
build as well.
Mission failed.
Shouldn't jungle logs be the best by default since they're the only ones you can grow cocoa beans on? 10 acacia. This is definitely a bit
Smosh
of a
soundbite.
very unique orange color scheme. Unfortunately, this falls into the too specific trap. There aren't many builds where you would need an orange wood type, so that holds us back quite a bit. On the plus side though, I am a really big fan of the acacia log. It's a completely different color being gray, which I think is actually fairly helpful. I've definitely used the log for this wood far more than the planks itself. 9 warped. Here we have the second nether wood type, and I like this color scheme a lot more. This time it's a pretty nice blue color, which is far different from any of the other wood types. Problem again being there's not many builds where you would need a blue wood compared to all the other colors we have coming up. It does stick out a bit much, but when it does work, man does it work. I do have to say though, just like Crimson, I'm not a fan of the log. Honestly, it might just be my least favorite of the bunch, just because the red veins on Crimson look a bit cooler. 8 cherry. This is just a nice pink color, much more distinct than the pink-ish we got on Junglewood. Like the last few though, it's a bit too specific of a color to work in many builds. Due to it being a bit of a lighter pink, I do think it's more useful than the bright blue and orange, but not by too much. I also still don't love the log here. The texture is just a bit too soft for me, and it also has the horizontal flip thing from the jungle logs. 7 birch. Alright, now we're getting into some of the more useful ones in general. This is a much lighter version of oak, which can certainly be helpful in a number of different builds. In fact, this is the first of the woods I'd say I've used to a large extent. I think I'm generally a fan of the darker colors, but this is still pretty nice. Unfortunately though, birch easily has the worst log for building. At least the nether stems can look cool, but birch is just way too messy. They look fine as the trees, but I don't think I've seen a build that really incorporated the logs themselves too well. 6 bamboo. This is by far the most unique wood type we're going to be taking a look at today. Not only does it not come from trees, but it also has a few blocks unique to it. So wood itself is great. I honestly just think of it as a better birch. It's a bit more yellow, which makes it pop more, and it has a unique texture, which I think is neat. Plus the log here is so much better, as it's basically just a green version of the plank, basically giving us 2 wood colors in one. Also, I find it really funny how the stripped texture is the exact same as a plank, except one side has a waffle. It is worth noting, though, that bamboo doesn't have
The
bark
waffle
block, which
fell
is basically
over
all the
clip.
sides taking on the log look, but I do think that's okay in this instance. Overall, I think bamboo is a really nice wood type. Oh, and how could I forget the red? 5 mangrove. Alright, this one may be up a bit too high, but I have used this wood type a ton. Yes, the red color scheme is a bit more specific. Everything else above this, but man does it just work extremely well. I'm a big fan of the color red. That's the Mario color. So I'm definitely super biased, but I just don't think you can go wrong with this. I especially love how it looks in contrast with Deep Slate, which is probably my favorite family of blocks in the entire game. The problem is, this does once again have a pretty weak looking log. It's another sideways one, and I think in most cases you're better off just going with something like oak. 4 pale oak. This might be a bit of recency bias, but the white wood just looks so good. I haven't gotten a chance to really use this for myself, but I am super excited to try it out in the future. I'm a big quartz fan because of the white color scheme, so it was inevitable that I'd love a white wood. Plus, I really like the fact that we're finally getting stuff like fences, buttons,
Could use
signs, and
that
pressure
for my
points in
office
white.
building. House.
You plan on building an
This
office
may
building?
move up or down as I get a chance to play around with it more, but as of right
No,
now, I'm a
I'm
pretty
in
huge fan. I
quartz.
do have to
Yeah.
say though, while I think the
Another
log
guy.
texture is cool, I'm definitely going to stick with the acacia
No.
log for gray, just because I like the less messy.
No.
3 oak.
Fuck
I mean, it's the
you.
classic, the most basic of the wood types. If you think of wood in Minecraft, this is probably the one that first pops up into your head. It works great in a ton of different palettes, and it's really hard to go wrong with it. The log too is also super easy to integrate into builds. It honestly might be one of my favorites of the bunch. Not really much else to say on this one, it just works. 2 dark oak. As I said before, I'm a big fan of
I
the
need
darker
the fucking
woods,
foregrip
and
on
something
that.
tells me that might apply here. Again, I don't
That
have too much to say
also
on that one, but
having
it works
the
out
controller
so well
not
in a
working the
large
right
number
way
of
isn't
builds. It's
helping
probably
either.
the wood type I have used the most over the years. It's not quite my favorite aesthetically though, because that has to go to 1 spruce.
These
This acts as
joysticks
a
are complete
perfect
shit.
Think you
middle
like
ground
this
between
list
both oak
already,
and dark.
Tyler?
It works in basically every palette the other two work in. It really is just the perfect shade of brown. I've definitely moved to using spruce more and more over time, and I think a majority of the community agrees that spruce is great. It's just the most flexible wood type, so I think it deserves to be placed as the best of the select. Alright, 1 ranking down, 3 more to go. You're about to see that the doors list looks a fair bit different from the planks, so I feel fairly justified separating these out. As I said before, each door gets an entirely different texture, so on top of the color, we have to also judge its actual design as well. Luckily though, since there's less to talk about, I think this section should go by a bit faster. Starting us off with 12, the acacia door. I have never liked this thing. Compared to all the
Yeah,
other doors,
doors
there's just
poop.
so much air and it looks super
Server
flimsy.
connection
I mean,
timed out.
I
That's
would not
great.
feel secure behind this thing. Oh, yep, see, yeah, there's just the killer squeezing right through there. Not to mention that the orange color
Okay.
scheme is still super specific. 11, crimson. This one mostly comes down to the color. There aren't really many builds that are well suited for a purpley door like this, and those that are, I think the mangrove door just looks a bit better. In terms of actual texture though, I do think the bordered up design is kind of nice, though it is definitely a lot better as a double door than a single. 10, warped. While the color is a bit better than its other nether counterparts, I do think the texture here is a bit worse. The veiny design makes this really only work in a super specific type of build. When it works, it looks great, but a majority of the time, this doesn't look that good. This also definitely needs to be a double door. The way the veins go up looks very strange when it's a single. 9, bamboo. I honestly don't really like the more yellow color on this one, and I actually think birch works far better. Design-wise too, I just don't really like the window here. I think the hole in the middle is just way too big, and it makes it look like you can just break the whole thing by pushing it. This is definitely a big improvement over what we've seen so far, though. 8, cherry. Compared to the other doors, this takes a pretty interesting approach, as the handle is actually in the center of the door instead of being at the side. I think it's nice to have this different type of door available to us, and the rest of the design looks pretty nice as well. The only problem is that the pink color wouldn't work well with many builds, but having the option for this color is always nice. 7, mango. Despite the red color, I actually think this works fairly well in a number of different builds. The design honestly reminds me a lot of the doors from the Mario series due to it being fully solid. Yes, I do point to doors in real life and say it's all This does have the minor problem of the texture not really standing out so much. The contrast of the colors on the door don't really differentiate themselves. Still though, I thought the design was pretty nice. 6, birch. This has a really unique look with the giant white bit in the center. It gives this door the look of having a window, but it's still completely solid, which I think is a cool idea. It's definitely hard for me to personally utilize it though. I haven't made many builds using this thing. The style seems to be a bit too specific, but I really like the idea behind this door. 5, jungle. This is definitely a huge jump up from where the wood itself was. While I didn't like the wood color since in most cases I just prefer using oak, I think the color here works well because the door design between the two is completely different. The circular window at the top is a great feature to have, and this is the only door that has that right now. I also just really like how you can see the planks that make up this door. It gives it a really nice look. 4, oak. And here we have the classic. This is the Minecraft door, so it's really hard to go wrong with it. You can basically throw it on anything, and the choice would be understandable. At the same time though, I can't say I love the design. This thing is littered with squares, and after all the other doors got added, it looked a bit weird to me. The window looks great, I have no problem there, but I don't know, I guess I'm just jealous of its 6-pack. Despite all of that, I think this door deserves to be placed here. I still use it all the time, and I think most Minecraft players do as well. 3, pale up. Once again, placing fairly high, we have our newest wood type. This was bound to be a good one for me, since I have always wanted a white door type that I could open without the use of redstone, not calling anyone out in particular. I imagine I'll be using this a ton in the future, as it just fits with my general block palette fairly well. I will say, though, I don't love the metallic bits at the front. Not that they necessarily look bad, I just think I would have preferred this door with 2, spruce. I really like the design behind this one. Looks like a sort of medieval castle kind of door, and I think that fits well with a lot of the builds done in Minecraft. Like spruce wood itself, it's fairly flexible, though not quite to the same extent. But taking the crown as the best door is easily 1, Darko. This has been my favorite ever since they introduced it. It is a lovely, modern-looking door design, and it's definitely the door I have used the most. Of the door types, I think this is one of the most flexible and just the best looking. For me, this one was really no contest. 2 rankings down and 2 more categories to go. This time we got the trapdoors, which you may think would be too similar to the last ranking, but I actually think it's quite different. Yes, the trapdoor designs aren't based on their door counterparts, but making the texture on a 1x1 surface instead of a 1x2 can completely change the look. Not to mention that trapdoors have very different building applications than doors, as trapdoors are generally used to add details to builds. Obviously though, they can still absolutely be used as trapdoors. I imagine this section will be the quickest of the video.
Burnt a chicken and lava.
12, bamboo. This thing just looks super flimsy. Take what I said about the window of the normal door and apply it to the whole block. I feel like taking a step on this thing is just asking to fall right through it. I also just don't think there are many builds that make details in this color compared to
I'm lagging, and that's why I'm losing a decent amount of my fights.
11, acacia. I'm actually fine with how the design looks here compared to the door. It's mostly down to the color on this one. Orange is just a super specific color, and compared to the rest, I just don't think it's as useful. 10, warped. This is a very similar design, but instead of being straight lines, they get a bit wiggly. Honestly, this design might be harder to use than the last one, since it basically needs to be in a build that would have wavy lines like this, but if you have a build like that, this would be excellent. I think I'm mostly just a fan of the blue color more on this one. 9, crimson. First time this guy got to come out as the better nether wood type. Congratulations. This is like they took acacia and rotated it on the side. Not that that matters too much, but I do like the look on it here. I also like the fact that they removed the handle, as it makes it look more like a vent or something. Okay, I saw that. I also think the purple color on this one actually works somewhat well. It's still not the best, but I can see this being used more often than the last one. 8, jungle. Compared to the door, this one does kind of hurt me a bit. I think it's just because the window on this isn't a perfect circle and it's a little lopsided. On the door, this is fine just because there's a lot more space on it, but since the trapdoor is only 1 block,
Fucking hell.
Still though, the color on this one is pretty strong, and I can absolutely still see someone getting some use to it. I just think if the window here was a perfect circle shape...
The lag is not fucking helping.
I'm actually a pretty big fan of the design that Cherry is using. The window and edges are each a perfect size to make a sturdy feeling trapdoor that you can still see through. Again, the only thing holding this back is the color. It's really hard to implement pink into a build in a good way. Purely going based on the design though, this is great. 6, oak. And here we have the classic, and I actually think this works square design works pretty well. It can be a bit difficult to use this for adding details to builds due to how many holes there are in this thing, but it can absolutely still be done because of how good the color is. I definitely think that as a trapdoor, this works extremely well, but I prefer when they can be used in other ways. 5 Dark Oak, Hershey's chocolate bar. This had the brave idea to ask, what if we took the oak trapdoor but built in the windows? In my opinion, that makes it a bit better for adding detail to the side of the builds. This is our first trapdoor that is fully filled in, which I think are the best. The Dark Oak trapdoor, though, just comes down to the squares. If they're used too much in a build side by side, it can look pretty distracting, which stops me from using it. I still absolutely do use it, just not as much as I wish I could. 4 Mangrove. This is what I was looking for with the jungle trapdoor. Funnily enough, this may be the most different trapdoor from its regular door, as there's no holes in the original at all. Who knows, maybe someone just shot the trapdoor.
No, someone fucked the trapdoor. Mysteriously, Steve's penis-shaped hole.
The only problem with this is, of course, the fact that it's red, which doesn't work quite as well as the
Huh?
brown and whites. Still, though, I'm a big fan of the circular center, which makes this my favorite trapdoor that's not fully opaque.
His block
I
R.
already like the door design well enough, but I think the white bit in the center works even better on a 1x1 space. I've definitely used this one quite a few times, whether it be for interior decoration or for adding curtains or something next to windows. This was also nice for a while as a sort of whitish trapdoor, but I think that got overtaken by 2 Pale Oak. This looks absolutely fantastic, and I think they did this perfectly. I know I'm going to be using this for all sorts of things like flower beds and so on. I mean, this basically took my main criticism of the door, being the large metal bits, and completely removed them, which I think was done certainly for the better. White is also just a great color to work with a ton of different builds. But I think my undeniable favorite trapdoor is 1 Spruce. This is by far the one I have crafted the most over the years. It pretty much doesn't look like a trapdoor and just a block with a really nice looking texture. That might be a downside to some, but I can't deny how useful that is. I've used this for everything, whether it be flower beds, windows, furniture, shelves, and so much more. The Spruce trapdoor also links into itself far better than any of the others. It doesn't look too repetitive when placed side by side, and of course the color is just really easy to use. I highly doubt most people will disagree with me on this one. But now it's time for our final.
I'm going to kill your birds if they don't
Now
shut
it's
the
time we
fuck
talk
up,
about the
Tyler. I swear to
sapling and trees
fucking
for each
God.
What
For
birds?
saplings,
I'm tired of hearing.
Originally, I was just planning on ranking them based on how annoying they are to chop down, which will still be the
No,
Why don't you
my
like the
penis
birds,
menu?
Tyler?
Christian Flattery Single Edition
Yes.
suggested I also take into account
Oh.
the other items you can get from growing trees, so I'll make sure to mention
Yeah,
those when
you're
they're
right.
relevant. Fine, I guess I could talk about cocoa beans. Starting off with my least favorite, 12 Mangrove. I cannot stand chopping these down. These are one of the tree types that will have branches grow into the leaves, which I always find super annoying because I always end up missing one, and then there's just a huge pile of leaves not decaying above my base. These trees can also grow pretty tall too, which means you have to pillar up while chopping them down. And if all that wasn't enough, each one of these trees spawns with a bajillion roots around it that won't decay, so you have to chop them all down and throw them into a chest somewhere. Maybe I'm just extra heated because I've been using mangrove more lately, but man, I can't stand working with these trees. The propagules are also just the most ugly sapling of the bunch. 11 Warped and 10 Crimson. Just gonna cover these two together because they have the same issues. First off, while you can place them on anything, they can only grow if you put them on Nylium, which just adds a bit of an annoying extra step. Then once you do have the trees, you realize the worst thing ever. The leaves don't decay. That means you have to mine each of them one by one, and since these are warp blocks instead of leaves, it takes a lot longer to mine them. Now sure, you could maybe say it's worth it because getting a good source of warp blocks could be helpful. Imagine being the guy who builds out the warp blocks. The reason these guys are above mangrove is because they can grow with shroom lights, which are nice, and the mushrooms themselves do look kind of cool. Crimson can also grow with weeping vines, which makes it my favorite of the two. 9 Acacia. This one will be quick since we're past most of the problem children. The acacia trees look pretty cool in a savanna biome, but sometimes tall ones can be a bit annoying as the branches are a bit out of reach. Also, I've never really liked the look of the sapling personally. 8 Dark Oak and 7 Pale Oak. These are our first 2x2 trees, which I find to be really fun to chop down. No matter how tall they get, you can always do the staircase technique to climb to the top and safely back down. I honestly like them far more than block wide trees since I don't have to pillar up.
Fucking stuck in the car.
However, a major price we have to pay for this. In order to grow these trees, it requires 4 saplings as opposed to 1. This can get really annoying because sometimes the trees only drop 2 or 3 saplings, which wouldn't be enough to make a new one. I have had a few occasions where I've had to run back to a roofed forest because I ran out of saplings, which has never happened for the trees that only require 1 to grow. As for the order between each other here, I think Pale Oak gets a slight edge. The sapling looks really cool and unique compared to the Dark Oak, and the tree itself has unique particles from leaves falling, which looks so perfect for a spooky atmosphere. There's also the resin mechanic, but that requires a creaking, and as far as I know, you can only get the hearts from naturally spawning trees. Oh, and it is also worth noting that Dark Oak trees can give apples, but that didn't really impact the tree. 6 Birch. Yeah, this is about as basic as a Minecraft tree can get. It looks like a Minecraft tree, that's for sure. Literally, the only special thing worth noting about the birch tree is the fact that it and oak can sometimes spawn with bee nests when growing from a sapling. Sometimes. See, now I have to rant about this because I actually have a visual of what this feature is. A couple years ago, me and my friends had a skyblock board, which you can actually see in the background of a few of my videos. Well, one day we wanted to get bees, but the only way to get them is from beehives. But after growing about 10 trees and not getting one, I decided to go into a creative world and grow a bunch of trees just in case we weren't doing it right. Look how many trees it took for one to appear. The chance is so minuscule that it's basically a non-factor. I doubt anyone outside of a skyblock setting would ever need to even think about this feature.
Friendly airstrike on the way.
5-0. This is actually more complicated to place than I was expecting it to be. Every part of my soul wanted to rank this guy low for once. Yeah, I cannot stand big oak trees. About 10% of the time you grow an oak sapling, they'll just be massive for no reason. And sure, you get more wood, but it's so much more annoying to chop down. The branches can easily get lost in the same load of
Fuck
the fact that it's a chance they
me.
also makes it much
I'm
worse.
good.
With that being said,
Thank you, though.
I wasn't talking to you.
well, that's because technically this isn't the only oak sapling.
Well, you could go and fuck yourself. That's what you want. Just like this fucker who just shot me. Ukrainian cannot.
Shot me and
Whatever.
killed me in the Bronx. About to get racist.
That mostly comes down to the fact that you can both plant a 1-block version and a 2x2 version. So now there's never really a worry of running out of saplings since you're almost always going to get at least one. Now the 2x2 tree isn't perfect since branches can sometimes be a bit of trouble, but they're not that bad compared to some of the others we've seen. On the plus side, the giant jungle trees will generate with vines in case you need some for a build. Now unfortunately, I do have to bring down jungle trees a bit because for some reason it doesn't come with sapling. This would be
That didn't work out the way I wanted to.
But I guess for now, I'll just accept what we got. 3 cherry. While this doesn't have a giant variant like jungle, this does have easily the best looking sapling. Ever since this tree type came out, I have used so many cherry saplings in my builds. The bright pink is just a fantastic color and the shape is great too. On top of that, when the tree is grown, this also has unique particles just like the pale oak, but this time being cherry blossom leaves. They create such a good aesthetic, so I'm a huge fan of this. The only thing holding this back is the tree can be somewhat annoying to chop down due to how it splits, but it's not that bad. 2 bamboo. This is the most unique sapling because it's not a sapling at all. Instead, you just place the bamboo and watch it grow. It grows pretty quick, and I love the look of it. Most importantly though, that makes this the only wood type that you can automatically farm. Sure, the others you can use TNT dupers, but they still require player input to place a sapling. However, bamboo grows by itself and can just be broken with pistons. That makes bamboo extraordinarily useful as a primary wood source late game. Early game, however, it can be somewhat annoying. In order to turn it into wood, you need to craft 9 pieces of bamboo together, which means that harvesting by hand can get somewhat tedious with your inventory constantly filling. Though it does feel super satisfying to just mow down a ton of bamboo really quickly. But as for my favorite tree type, we have 1 spruce. This is really not your video. Just like jungle, it has a 1-block variant and a 2x2 variant, which makes it super easy to collect a ton of. I also just like the look of the spruce sapling a decent amount. Definitely a lot more than the jungle counterpart. Giant spruce trees also don't come with any branches, which make them very easy to chop down smoothly. And on top of all that, growing a giant spruce tree causes it to this is easily the best way to get a ton of podzol, which is a block I really like to look at. Now to some this can be kind of annoying, but I personally always just have a dedicated spruce growing spot where I can just leave the podzol without worry. So for being really fun to chop down, really nice to look at, and for giving a good source of podzol, I think spruce is definitely good. But now it's time we take the averages to see the true ranking of each of the wood types. In case you're like 3 years old and don't know how averages work, basically I'm adding up all the placements of that wood and then dividing it by 4. Whichever wood has the lowest score at the end of this wins. This will go by pretty quickly. So starting off with the worst wood, we actually have a tie with 2 woods getting the same score of 10.5, being 12 crimson and 11 acacia. I know these two were placed low because their colors are just far too specific. In the case of a tie, by the way, I'll give a slight edge to the wood that performed better in the plank ranking since I think that's the most important one. 10 warp with a score of 10. The color on this one is definitely a bit better, but as I've said, still a bit too specific. 9 bamboo with a score of 7.5. Massive leap in the average, and I'm honestly
You don't sound very entertained, Tyler. What is that? That's not a dead guy. I forgot this map. Everyone turns into presents when they die. Dead?
Jungle and 7 mangrove. Mangrove is about where I expected, but jungle actually placed a lot higher than I thought. While I don't really like the wood, jungle did so much better in the other categories that it almost made up for. 6 cherry with a score of 6.5. The sapling is definitely hard to use. 5 birch with a score of 5.5. This is about where I expected it to be. Definitely one of the more used wood types, but not quite up there with some of the best. Or oak with a score of 4.5. Being the generic wood type, it makes sense to place this highly. Coming in with another type,
pop your ass.
Halo into dark oak with a score of 4.
I guess spruce is the best tree in the
Maybe a
game.
bit of recency bias, but I think it'll turn out to be really useful. But to absolutely no one's surprise, we have
3
one spruce with a
times.
score of 1.25. It's only missing a perfect score because of dark oak in the 4 category. Spruce is the fan favorite, and I think for good reason. Pretty much all of its elements just work super well for building. But anyways, that's it for this video. Were you expecting to see wax-weathered copper trapdoors in the trapdoor segment and hate me for not including them? Let me know.
That's fine.
Minecraft's got many mechanics that makes the survival mode what it is today.
Fucking shit teammate scared the hell out of me. Fuck, I thought that was from the other guy. Nope.
If your goal is to stay alive, which I feel like is the case for most people, you don't want to end up like. One of the most important mechanics would have to be the food and hunger system. On the right side of your hotbar, you'll have 20 hunger points that gradually go down as you do certain actions. If it gets to 17, you won't be able to heal naturally. If it gets to 6, you won't be able to run. And once it reaches 0, you'll start to die. So it's pretty important to actually be eating food. And luckily, Minecraft provides a ton of different options as to what to eat. However, with so much food in the game, some are not to be worse than others. So today, I thought it'd be fun to rank all the food in Minecraft from the worst to the best. Now, how exactly am I going to be constructing this list? Technically, if you have unlimited access to every food source in the game, then it is possible to mathematically create but that's boring. I don't want to be a nerd. Oh, look at me, I can do bad. More importantly, though, I feel like
This guy makes me think of Almighty Lolly, the guy that made the Berserk videos. The entire reason I
What kind of
read
fucking
all
name
of
is that?
Berserk.
Almighty Lolly.
On top of how good it is at actually filling the hunger and saturation.
Kyle, you have...
In addition to that, I thought it'd be fun to also
I don't want to hear
thin
you
ice
have no
pal.
room to fucking speak. I don't want to hear that shit.
No, I'm just saying, you're on thin ice, man.
Thin ice? How?
Maybe it's not thin, maybe it's like a good, like, 1 inch thick, but it's still
1
ice,
inch thick. That's not making it that much fucking better. It's like, okay, you're going to die instead of 1 minute, it's going to be in 5 minutes because the fuel's going a little slow,
Yeah,
so
don't
it's not
stand on
burning
it,
the plane
Kyle.
up
Go
as
stand on the
fast.
solid ground with the rest of us. Start gooning to legal age individuals that aren't drawn.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You did not have to laugh that hard at it.
Let's jump right in. So starting off, we
Yeah,
have our
say it again, Tyler. You gonna get pissed off this time? You gonna get pissed off like you did in Phasmophobia where
Stop,
you're...
you're hurting my head. You're hurting my
As the name
head.
suggests, eating this thing poisons you.
Say it again. Say it again, Tyler. Say it again.
Say the line.
Because there's a second hidden bar known as saturation, which controls how long until your hunger meter actually goes down, and the amount of saturation you get from each food is different. So the effectiveness value takes both hunger and saturation points into consideration. With all that being said, yeah, this is pretty bad. This can't even be made into a better food source. It's literally just in the game to be a minor inconvenience when harvesting potatoes. Honestly, though, I don't mind that. It is kind of funny to have an item that's essentially entirely useless. Heck, that's why Mojang even based their last April Fool's update after the item, because it's funny to imagine this ever actually getting a use. But also, they may need to stop doing these, because now I just get sad. I want to swing around like Spider-Man. But yeah, for being a purposefully useless item, the poisonous potato takes last place. 40, the tropical fish. This is the least effective food source in the entire game, only providing 1 hunger point and having an effectiveness rating of 1.2. That alone would be enough to make this bad, but it's also a minor annoyance just like the poisonous potato, as it appears while fishing, taking away from much better food sources. Now I know what some of you may be saying. Can't these be used to breed axolotls? No. To breed them, you need to use a bucket of tropical fish. The food item you get after killing the fish is entirely useless in this department. So yeah, the item basically has no reason to ever want it. You can't even tame cats with it. 39, the cookie. As much as I may love
Shout out
cookies,
to
they are
Eduardo.
sadly quite useless in Minecraft. They only
Eduardo?
give 2
What
hunger
world
points
was
with
that? That was the
effectiveness
second
rating of
Eli
4.
world,
Not something
right?
ever worth making. In
Oh,
order
I
to
wasn't there
craft
for that
it,
shit.
it takes wheat, which is better used for bread, and cocoa
It
beans, which
was,
is
I
better used for
remember
brown
that.
dye. Outside of eating them,
So
cookies have
who
the
or what was
incredibly useful
Eduardo?
ability to kill parrots. The only upside I can think of this is that when you craft them, you do get ever worth making. In order to craft it, it takes wheat, which is better used for bread, and cocoa beans, which is better used for brown dye. Outside of eating them, cookies have the incredibly useful ability to kill parrots. The only upside I can think of this is that when you craft them, you do get 8 at once, but I still don't think it's really worth it.
I thought you'd like that.
Rabbits do. This is bad for a very different reason from the others in F tier. It doesn't actually provide a
That's
lot
great.
more hunger points. It actually provides
Oh
the
man,
most
that's
of any
wonderful.
food source in the game. Asterisk. It restores a total of 10 hunger points with an effectiveness of 22. So why on earth is it in F tier? Well, for starters, you can't stack it, which is a massive downside as you'll need to eat a lot of food as you play, even with how effective this is. Now you can stack the ingredients, but to make this you need 5 different items. So to hold a stack of rabbit stew, it essentially takes up 5 inventory slots, 6 if you count the item itself once it's crafted. And also, why don't we take a look at those ingredients? It takes a bowl, of course, but also cooked rabbit, a baked potato, a carrot, and a mushroom. That is a lot of other food food items, and as it turns out, if you eat them all separately, excluding the bowl of mushroom, you get 13 hunger points and 28.6 effectiveness. That means it is a complete waste of resources to ever make rabbit stew because you're getting less out of it for both items. So yeah, I honestly don't even know why they bothered adding it. It's basically beetroot soup. For our final F tier, this is a very similar problem to our last one in that it doesn't stack. Luckily though, it does at least make sense to make as it provides 6 hunger points with 13.2 effectiveness, the exact same amount you'd get from eating 6 beetroots. And that does bring up the question of why even bother making this if it is the exact same, but at the very least you're not making it at a loss. Now it's time to move on to C tier, the stuff you probably won't eat, but they're significantly more useful. Starting off, we have 36 mushroom stew. This has the exact same hunger and effectiveness as beetroot soup, along with also having the problem of being unable to stack. What I think puts it up into C tier though is the fact that it's a lot more convenient. It only takes 2 mushrooms, one of each color to craft, and you can easily just stumble across those while caving. If you're lucky enough to have a mushroom, you can also milk it. Is it called milking if it's for mushrooms? Oh, who cares? You can do this infinitely, so it can be a fairly solid food source, but pretty much only if you have a mushroom. 35 rotten flesh. This is dropped by zombies, so most players will have an absurdly large amount of this. Unless you really suck at fighting zombies. Embarrassing. Now this is not something I recommend eating. It gives a very weak amount of hunger points with a total of 4, and an effectiveness
But it's still better than rabbit stew,
That's
guys.
not even considering the fact that eating this will give you the hunger effect about 80% of the time. While it can be fun to gamble by eating this, I certainly wouldn't recommend it. Now with all that being said, why is it this high up? Well, it's got 2 solid uses outside of food. First off, it will heal wolves 100% of their health, which will be extra nice with 1.20.5's new dog breeds. Secondly, you can also trade rotten flesh to cleric villagers for emeralds. Now this is far from the most efficient trade as it requires 32 rotten flesh, but it is certainly something I've done quite a bit over the course of the game. 34 raw chicken. Spoiler alert, most of the other raw food will be in this tier. I know they can be made into cooked variants, which are all much better.
Oh, hey
but I do
Kyle, I
feel
played all of the
raw variants
Hatsune
very
Miku
high.
songs
For
in
the sake of time as
Fortnite
well,
now.
we're gonna run through these
And I've
quite
gotta
fast.
say,
The reason chicken is the worst is simply because eating it
she's
has a chance
aight.
to give you the hunger effect. While that does make it more fun to gamble with,
I
I like
suppose that's
Daisy
an improvement.
2.0.
33.
I like
Daisy
that
2.0,
song.
I don't know if
This is a problem
I've
been a hater toward for
heard
a
or
long
played that
time.
one.
Ever since it was added, I believed this
It's
thing for
not
being
really
easily
a
the worst thing
Hatsune
to
Miku
run. But
song.
after looking at
She
everything,
Okay,
just
well,
pulls a
probably.
DJ Khaled,
still sucks.
says
Okay,
her
it's not
name,
terrible, but
says
it's
maybe
not
Oh,
like 5
incredible.
things
It is a
after that,
minuscule 100
and then
point
that's just the other
effectiveness. This
person.
doesn't have
And
the
she
ability
probably
Okay, yeah,
produced
no,
the song, to be
like
fair,
the
but
potato, so this just kind of sucks. It does have a few small
I
things to
haven't
consider,
listened.
though. Like
I
rotten
don't
flesh, it
usually
can be
listen to
traded to
those.
villagers. You're much better off using one of the
Most of
other
those I
crops,
don't
but this
really
has
like.
the option.
Very few of
Beetroots
those I
are
Make
also
girl
like.
great
get a
picks.
daddy.
If you somehow don't have access to carrots anywhere, this is good for the job. And on top of all that, it can be crafted into red dye.
What?
But I'd say iron
Not
farms
good.
are much more efficient since the
puffer
golems
fish.
always drop more
I
poppies than you'll ever know what
guess.
to deal with. So yeah, this
Gotta be
thing does
that
have
good.
some uses, but it's pretty much always overshadowed by
I
something
think you can
else.
use it as a
32.
potion now I think about it.
Suspicious stew. This was a very hard one to place. It's got solid stats, giving 6 hunger points and 13.2 effectiveness, but also the problem of not being able to stack. What's interesting about Suspicious Stew, though, is that it can give the player a potion.
He keeps using the same, like, literal, like, 1-second clip of making a bunch of rabbit stew, by the way. I'm just letting you know. Every time he says it doesn't stack. It's the same
doesn't
it's the same
stack.
video.
To craft this, you need to add a flour to the mushroom stew recipe, and depending